Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Hello, Sam. Calling Sam. Are you there, matey?
Hello, Drew. Yes, I am here. It is lovely to see you, mate. How the devil are you?
I'm extremely well, and all the better for being in the presence of my good buddy. How you doing?
Well, what can I say? The compliments are raining in, which can only mean that things are going to get a hell of a lot worse.
Well, actually, saying that, I mean, they are bad in one respect, because I cannot believe that we have come to the end of season 3, Sam.
It's mental, isn't it? It is sad to come to the end of it. And genuinely, it feels like yesterday we were filming our first ever episode of Drewling Samantics. And that was back in February last year. We're in 2022 now, mate. Like, we're nearly a year old.
Wow.
How's that happened?
I don't know. 45 episodes down the line, mate. And what an experience it's been. I mean, it's been amazing. It was great chats, great memories. I mean, it's been absolutely fabulous fun to do. It really has.
Definitely has. But I think we can go one better than thinking about all the fun we've had over this.
Oh.
We can reminisce properly.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this. However, we cannot reminisce properly without one very important item. Yeah, you know what I mean, don't you?
Oh, you are reading my mind, sir. You are talking about refreshing our memories while refreshing our taste buds.
Beautifully put. Yeah, I'm glad you've got one. Glad you got one.
Ready and raring to go. So cheers to you, Drew.
Cheers to you, Sam.
And here's a sip.
A little slurp. And right, come on, then. Let's sit back and enjoy the best bits of us.
Today on Gardener's World, you can see that the lesser common Drew is in full bloom.
Yeah, all right.
That's a nice shirt, mate.
Thank you, Alan Titchmarsh. Yes. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I was readjusting the sofa of dreams, and I happened to be wearing a floral print shirt.
It's lovely, mate.
So there we are. Birthday present from my wife. One of my favourites, and yeah. You caught me looking more like a hedge than the wonderful Drew that I am. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, all right. I was you just brought up, mate. Is that both of us now being compared to hedges? And that'll mean nothing to anyone that's fairly new to Drewling Samantics. If you go back to, it's got to be season 1, surely.
I think it is.
I mean, months ago. There's a reference to a certain costume I had to wear at some point, and it is quite the story.
It's yeah, it is.
Anyway,
I mean, I know it's kind of an overused phrase or a strange phrase used, but I mean, people, we refer to some actors as national treasures, and I think they do enter. It's like, I mean, I grew up with Morecambe and Wise. Every Christmas, you turn on and watch the Morecambe and Wise special. That was almost Christmas Day. Was and. When Eric went, and it was a kind of, what do we do now? What do we do now? And I mean, poor Ernie Wise is sitting there going, what do I do now? But you lost a loved one, and it was the same when Andrew went, and John Challis and other great national treasures go. They enter the national conscience, and we live with them, and we talk about them, and people have discussion. Or do you see? Whatever show it was last night, wasn't she bloody funny, wasn't it? And that they quote it, they remember it. I mean, when we do these shows, how many times have you had speeches of Boise, quoted at you, and you think they know it better than I do? I mean, because people love it, and it's an honor, as you say, to play these characters, but it's an incredible phenomenon that these people are so loved and so well. I mean, there are hundreds of people that we could mention, but
I think we're lucky that what we do is a homage. Like, at no point, as you say, are we indicating or suggesting that we are as good as the original. What we're doing is offering the general public an opportunity to remember and reimagine these people. And I mean, as you say, you get stuff quoted at you, and it sound like it makes us like our jobs easy or whatever, but actually half the job is done for us, because you know as well as I do that we turn up to these things and we've got the costume on and you've got the accent going and the mannerisms, and you're halfway there with that. But the other half is the fact that people are so excited to see these beloved characters, and they know what's coming. They're not turning up to see something new and different. They're turning up to see things that they've grown up with and remember from 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And they want to hear those catchphrases, and they want to see those famous moments, be that Trigger stood there with a broom, or be that Del Boy in the Batman outfit, or whatever it is, as a couple of examples, or Basil whacking Manuel round the head, or whatever it happens to be. And we owe that to the incredible people who did those things for the first time, and obviously that's immensely down to the writers and directors and the production team as well. But we remember these legends, these as you say, national treasures for these certain moments. And I mean, I mentioned Trigger there. Roger Lloyd Pack was another incredible national treasure who the world sort of stops briefly when these people pass, and you kind of go, oh gosh, that's the last we'll see of them. They will never create anything again, which is incredibly sad. But we're lucky enough that technology has evolved to a point where we will never lose things because we can go back.
I think you're right, Sam. They create memories, don't they? That when something, when we lose those people, we are brought up short. It's we kind of remember where we were when something happened or something was said. I mean, one great national treasure, and someone we lost a little while ago, the wonderful Victoria Wood. I remember watching her show, her performance one night, and there was a famous song of hers with a line, "Beat me on the bottom with a woman's weekly," and I think it was one of those classic comedy lines, a wonderful song. Coming out of Victoria Wood's mouth, it was just genius anyway. But then for the next week, people were quoting that line to each other, and it was deeply silly and ridiculous and slightly sort of naughty. But because it was Victoria, it's become, I hate the word iconic, but it has become a kind of iconic moment. And it became, I mean, I can see it in my mind now, sitting at the piano and singing it. And like you say, with modern technology, we see those replays over and over again. But more than that, I carry those sort of things around in my head. I mean, the moment David Jason fell through the bar, just play it cool, Trigger, and wallop, he's gone. No one would ever forget that. If you saw that, you remembered that. And I think it's that combination of, as I said before, of great performances, great writing, but also good people. I've had a good week. I've finally, and I know I've got to answer this question because I know your granddad wants to know. I did finally buy a car. I bought
for anyone that's a bit confused by that, Drew said to me, do any of your family listen? Just on a random sort of question. I was like, do you know what? It's really weird. My granddad phoned me and we were having a chat. And he happened to mention the podcast because he does listen all the time. And he asked me, has Drew found a car yet? So we talk all about all different areas of the industry and things. And we go into depth and stuff. And the one thing that he asked me about the podcast was, has Drew bought a new car? So there you go.
Well, in answer to his question, yes, I bought myself a lovely Nissan Note. I'm very pleased with it. And I've been sailing around in it all week with a big smile on my face. So, yeah. But I do remember one time in a hotel in somewhere, I think it was in Kent, it was near Maidstone.
Yeah.
And it was quite a few years ago. I was doing a Fawlty Towers evening playing Manuel. And it was quite a big hotel, 2 function rooms connected by a corridor.
Right.
And sort of glass down both sides of the corridor, so you could see into one function room, you could see into the other. And when functions were working, they put curtains down so no one was disturbed. And I I ran down the corridor and couldn't actually get out of the corridor. I was sort of lost in a glass, and I was looking through, and I could see the other function room totally empty, and I could see ours where the curtains were drawn, going, I want to be in there. I can't get in there. And eventually I sort of ran right the way around the function room. Whilst I'm doing this, the poor character's on, in the middle going, where's Manuel? Where's Manuel? We can't carry on until Manuel arrives. And Manuel's like going, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I got lost and stuck outside my own performance space.
Excellent. Yeah, good effort.
But also in the same hotel, as a little joke, they had a communal mobility scooter for people that weren't able to get around the building easily.
Oh, God,
it was like a little it was like a little complimentary sort of, people would jump on that, whiz to the, if they didn't have one of their own. And we used to use this. We used to say to the hotel, could we use this for Basil and Manuel? And it was, Manuel was doing a kind of, this is before Uber, but I was doing a delivery service from the kitchen to the table via the mobility scooter. So it was like an early Uber. But to do this, I had to go from the kitchen, which was on floor 2, down in the lift to the function room, and out I come on the mobility scooter. And one day the lift didn't quite get all the way down, and the doors part opened, and you could just see me sitting on the mobility scooter about 2 foot high from where I should be from the lift landing. And so the doors were open, and I'm going, hello. I couldn't get out because the doors were only about that wide. So in the end, I got off the scooter, and Basil and Sybil and one of the waiting staff there prized the doors open wide enough that I could slip through, leaving behind the dinner that was for the guests. They had to get them another dinner, but for another hour, the food had to be manhandled from upstairs, bodily carried down because I got the lifts down. So yeah, no preparation there, mate. And yes, highly embarrassed. There you go.
I mean, do you know what? I think it's probably an interesting thing to bring up then. So James Bond for me is a man because James Bond was written as a man in the books. It's not that I don't believe there could be a female spy who plays a similar role, but I just think surely, and I can't speak on behalf of female performers, but I would hope or that my thoughts run on a similar line, that surely you would want to be established in your own character rather than almost having a cast off or kind of going, well, this has been written for a bloke, but we've kind of done everything we can with it, so you can have it, women. That to me seems like almost insulting. Like,
I think so. I think so. It's and the other thing is like saying it was written as James Bond. It's a male character. There is no reason why that character couldn't be played by a woman. However, there are things that you would have to make compromises both towards the character and the female actor playing. Do you call it James Bond or do you call it Jane Bond? In which case you are compromising. For me, don't compromise. Keep the character as James Bond being played by a man. Right. Create an equally strong and modern franchise that is played up and headed by a female actor, a woman. It could be Jane Bond. It shouldn't be, because that then is a it becomes a pastiche. I don't see why we shouldn't be asking the question, could James Bond be played by a woman? We should be asking, why isn't there an equally strong franchise? Why isn't there a female character, equally strong, equally recognized, that people are going, oh, could that be played by a man? Do you know what I mean? That's what we're lacking. And it's not that I have no problems with Hamlet being played by a woman. Fine. But there are things within that you go, it doesn't sit right. We're having to ask questions. Why aren't we writing the roles for women? Why aren't there? There are amazing writers, directors, producers. I've met 2 or 3 of them doing my recall that were fabulous. That it's there. And there is now, as you say, there is now a demand and a recognition that theatre exists and it's powerful. And we need to reflect, theatre needs to reflect the world around us. James Bond doesn't. It's pure escapism. There's everything there, but there are plays out there. There are Little Voice is a case in point. It reflects a certain strata, a certain area, and people's attitudes. It has something to say. I mean, I think audiences change during the summer as well, because I mean, we get a lot of tourists.
Yes, of course, yeah.
So I'm thinking of our open air tours. They can only really happen during the summer. Although, I have done 1 or 2 where, the weather has been absolutely brilliant, but the best days of performance have been those where you actually doing, Shakespeare with an umbrella in your hand. I mean, that's been, quite fun. But yeah, there are.
I see before me. Yes,
mate. Honestly, it was a Shakespeare, and it was just blowing a gale, and we all just sort of turned up at the venue and went. It's sort of country house in the middle of somewhere. Went. It's not going to happen today, is it? We got out the van and minimal set. It was just sort of a chair here, a stool there. I think we had a folding screen, which just ended up on the floor. That was, do without that. So we basically just turned up, and these beautiful costumes, and you stand there and go, yeah, honestly, no one's going to turn up, are they? No one's. And then the box office go, yeah, there's 200 people that, you go, what? They're here, they're queuing up. And you think, okay, get in the costume. And we were playing Shakespeare with umbrellas above our heads, occasionally turning inside out. And the audience loved it. I mean, they were sat there with coats on and umbrellas and hats and Macintoshes, probably shivering for 2 hours in, the wind and the rain. But to get through it, it's like everything else. If you get through something, and you think, yeah, we did that. And the audience give us a huge round of applause at the end, probably more to warm their hands up than anything else. But, we got a lovely video, and because they appreciated the fact that we'd done it.
You never fail to make me laugh when we do this. It's such a great time chatting. I think we're mates and we see each other all the time, and we spend a lot of time together and work together. But I always look forward to the podcast as well, because this is an opportunity to kind of chat about things that might not necessarily come up in our normal conversation, mainly because we're normally talking, moaning about stuff and work and being grumpy old gits, or taking the piss out of each other. But this is a chance to sort of, we always go on to different topics and get to talk about things that perhaps we wouldn't normally, which is amazing. And as I was saying, you never fail to make me laugh. But, and I'm sure you'll confirm this for our listeners and viewers, I'm very, very good when it comes to when we're performing at not breaking character and not laughing. So very rarely.
Oh, no, you're very good. Yeah.
The term for anyone that's not familiar is corpsing, which is where you end up breaking character and laughing at something that's either gone wrong or something that you weren't expecting to happen, or something that was supposed to happen but just ends up being so funny that you can't quite hold it together. And it's obviously quite heavily frowned upon in most scenarios. I mean, if you're doing some serious Shakespeare or something and you end up corpsing, then it's really quite bad. And in the film world, you end up doing it again. Really,
got to do another take.
Often it'll appear in an outtake or a blooper reel or something. But we've discovered that quite often breaking character works well in live immersive theatre. Not excessively so, and not to the wrong point. But I've always found that to the right level, it works really well. However, this story I'm about to tell now was not one of those situations. As you know, and as many of our viewers, listeners may know, I've done a show by Oscar Wilde, The Importance of Being Earnest. And I've done it a couple of times, actually.
Great play.
It is a fantastic play. I really enjoy doing it. I love the show. It's very well written, very funny, etc., etc. And I did it many years ago, 7-8 years ago, I think it was. I did it in a lovely little theatre called the Groundlings Theatre in Southsea in Portsmouth.
Beautiful.
And we also took it on tour a little bit, but this particular incident happened to be when we were in the theatre where we sort of originated our production. And there was a moment in it where my character, John Worthing, is being interviewed or interrogated, shall we say, by Lady Bracknell, who is this very pompous old lady, and I'm trying to woo her daughter, and she's basically checking out, am I good enough for her? And there's a ridiculous exchange of where she says things like, do you smoke? And I go, oh God, yeah, I'm sorry. Obviously not in the eloquent language that it's put in, but oh, I do smoke. And she goes, excellent. I like a man with a hobby. Or say it's just absolute ridiculousness. And there was a moment, and I can't remember what exactly it was, but to set the scene, I'm stood front of stage, right by the edge, looking dead ahead into the audience, terrified because I'm being interviewed by this woman who is sat in a very pompous chair with her sort of an umbrella and her bag and her hat and whatever else behind me. And then flanking either side are the other characters who were watching at this point. And I can just about, out of my peripheral vision, catch the two characters on one side and one on the other side, but not Lady Bracknell, because she sat behind me. And as she's doing these questions, which they're not funny in themselves, but the responses and that's kind of entertaining and hilarious to the audience. But then all of a sudden, the audience got really quite agitated, laughing a lot. And peripheral vision, I can see my fellow actors, and what they're doing is, you know where you laugh silently, and you're trying your best to hide it, but your body vibrates. You sort of bounce up and down, and you don't want any sound to come out, and it's almost painful, but you cannot help, and your whole body convulses. And in my peripheral vision, I can see my friend Tony, who was playing Algernon, who was sort of opposite me, and he looked like he was vibrating. He was shaking so much with laughter, and I can't remember who it was sat next to him, but she was laughing as well. And all the other actors are laughing so much, holding it together just about so they're not laughing out loud. The audience are in tears, and I can't work out. And then I chanced a glance behind me to see Lady Bracknell fighting to the death with her wig, which, and just to put this in perspective, Lady Bracknell was played by a man in this production, which it quite often is. Not always, but quite often it's a man dressed as a woman. And my dear friend Richard Stride, who was playing Lady Bracknell, very talented actor and theatre director, he'd managed to either get his wig caught in his ruffled sleeve or on his bag or something, and he'd sort of attached himself to his arm. And he was fighting to release himself. And I can't remember exactly what the line was, but something happened. And obviously everyone else was pissing themselves laughing. And he said something to the tune of, well, I'm never having my hair done there again. And that broke everyone. Everyone was absolutely gone.
I had the last week or the last few days of the play Invisible Me in Wimbledon, which you know full well how wonderful it was, because you surprised me and turned up, didn't you? With a few mates. It was lovely.
So managed to come and check out the play, and it was fantastic. Had a wonderful time, and you were superb, may I say. Congratulations.
Thank you, mate. That's very kind.
Two colleagues in your three-hand show, which was great fun, really enjoyable. And I'd say even though you attempted to mar my enjoyment, if that makes sense, by pretending you didn't know who I was, or ignoring the fact that I was there. So there's me sat in what essentially was the front row, because it wasn't the front row, but there was no one in front of me, in a very intimate space. It was a lovely space, but very intimate. So probably at best, 5 meters from your face, where I
was. Yeah.
And so watched the play, really enjoyed it. Off stage you go. I head down to stage door to wait and for you to come out and go, thanks so much for coming, mate. And you walked out and went, what are you doing here? And I thought, well, hang on. I've just been sat. What do you mean? No, ladies and gentlemen, Drewling Samantics, fans, followers, listeners, viewers, Drew did not have glasses on throughout the production, so did not notice that I was sat there. Yeah.
Honestly, mate, I think I was so deep in character, so heavily in the moment that no, without my glasses on, mate, and in the dark, I can't see a bloody thing. So I didn't know you were there. So I have apologized, but I'll apologize in front of all these witnesses for but I was so chuffed that you came and brought some mates with you. That was a really lovely surprise.
There's always someone who knows someone who knows someone. There are always connections. Like everyone you work with will have worked with someone else you've worked with at some point through some connection or whatever.
Yeah.
And because of that, those sort of, I don't know what the best way to do it, not handouts, but those helping hands, that's probably the better, those little moments where someone goes, do you know what? I think you'd be great at this. Or even the opposite, like as you know, I'm touring in the new year with an educational show. And one of the guys who we did some previews through Zoom to create this show and develop the show. And one of the guys that I work with on that sadly can't do the tour because he's got other things that he's committed to. So the production company have just gone through the casting process to replace him. And I recommended 2 people that I'd worked with before just for that and sent the details over to them. Now, there's no guarantee they were going to get it, but there's also quite a high likelihood that they might not have seen this opportunity because of location or because of logistics or whatever. It might not have been on their radar. But I know for a fact that one of them got shortlisted, and the other, I think, applied as well. So I gained nothing necessarily from doing that personally, but at the same time, I know that I might have helped someone out. And also, I guess there is a little bit of selfishness in there because I've worked with these people before, know how good they are. And by putting them onto this, I might end up working with them again. And I know that I'd enjoy that. So I guess maybe that is a benefit to me.
Yeah, I mean, and there's nothing better than working with your friends. And as I said before, is that there is that shorthand as well. There's a whole, sort of 24, 48 hours you don't have to go through getting used to someone, talking to them, finding out all about them. It's there and you go, hello, mate, lovely to see you again. Boom, away you go. And that's always helpful I think directors, producers, they will employ their friends and people they worked with before for that reason. But I mean, there's nothing better than working with a mate, and we have great fun, working together because, it's just nice to work with your mates,
Yeah, and even those very, very rare occasions where you turn up to do something and you have no idea about the casting or who else is involved, and then someone that you haven't seen for ages but had a great relationship with or worked with on something that you really cherish happens to be there, and you're like, no way, like I didn't know you were on this. Yeah, I didn't. And it's just that there are those wonderful gems, those moments where all of a sudden everything's just like, wow, what a small world, but what a brilliant world we were.
It happened to me. I was doing a production of King Lear a long while ago, fringe production, and we were sitting doing the read through, and Guy walked in the door, and I just went, and it was my days from the youth theatres, and he was in one youth theatre and I was in the other youth theatre company, and there was a little bit of friendly rivalry between the two, and and he was there at one point. He was their sort of leading man, and I was my company's leading man. And then we both went to drama school, did different things, and never really saw each other. And we were friendly. There was friendly rivalry. But into this rehearsal room walked this guy, and he looked across, and I looked across, and it was like, we haven't seen each other for 20 years. This is amazing. But also, we were playing brothers. And the brothers, Edmund and Edgar in King Lear, the fighting siblings. And that brought a real excitement to it. And we were almost, during the rehearsals, we were almost inseparable. We were side by side all the time, chatting, working in this relationship. Obviously not during the actual play itself, but it became and again, it became a lot, it picked up a friendship that sparked when we were kids. And now we're blokes in our 30s, and we're sort of like, okay, totally different relationship, but forged years ago. And
Right.
it was a really easy conversation. It was as if it was yesterday that I'd last seen him. It was fabulous.
He's got his specs on. You're looking very studious there.
Sorry, mate. I was just going over my notes for today's show. Yes, we do have notes, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I do anyway. Anyway, look at this. Clark Kent and
Super Gran.
ooh. Wish I hadn't done that now. Yeah. You know, Sam, sometimes I do wonder why I do this with you. I mean, all you do is take the piss.
Yeah, but Drew, being mean is my way of showing you affection. That said, I will apologise. I'm very sorry. And how about I make it up to you?
Yeah, right. I'm really worried now. How are you going to do that then?
I'm just going to let you go and get another beer.
Okay, I see your point. You are being kind. That's very good because I do need a refill.
Well, perfect timing. Let's both grab a fresh bevy and then we can get back to some of our best bits.
Right, I'm done. I'm topped up. You good?
Oh, yes, all sorted. So, away we go again. Now, actually, and I meant to ask you, mate, because I know something that you've been planning on doing for a while, and I'm wondering whether you did manage to achieve this week. Have you seen Bond yet?
No. I'm slightly annoyed because it's been a busy week and I haven't got to see it. Although I do want to go and see it with Verona because it will have a sort of a bit of a date night. But yeah, I'm a bit of a Bond fan. I mean, Daniel Craig's not my favourite Bond. I think they're great movies, and this one's had good reviews and a couple of mixed reviews.
Yes,
I'm looking forward to seeing this one. I mean, I loved Sean Connery was my favourite Bond. I liked what Roger Moore did because there was a cheeky glint in his eye, and I think Daniel Craig, the kind of gritty, realism of the modern ones, it kind of works well. He's not my favourite Bond, but I do like the film, so I am looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm a bit of a Bond fan.
And we're now it's a good week and a half since it came out, so it's certainly been going, and it's breaking lots of box office records from what I'm hearing. I think people are eager to see it, and particularly as it's his last outing. So I know really got it with a bang, like really kind of put it in as you expect. So, have you got? I mean, I've got quite a few sort of nerdy Bond fans, that friends that have been saying, "Oh, we should be this person. It should be that person to be the new Bond." So that one is I'm waiting to see that one play out. It's going to be very interesting. I'm intrigued as to what direction it might go. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think Idris Elba is quite likely. I think he's definitely a big star. I quite like the idea of Henry Cavill as well. I think
there's an actor I really like. And towards the other one is Tom Hiddleston as well. He's in the mix.
Yeah, a little bit of a different, perhaps more sort of Roger Moore than Daniel Craig is.
I was thinking that's a sort of throwback to the Moores and the Nivens of
indeed. Indeed, for the real sort of stalwart Bond fans. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, mate, I think there's only one realistic choice, and that is an actor called Sam Dunning, who I think would be an amazing Bond. He's not released anything suggesting that he's in the running, sadly.
No, I just had a little thought, a line that ran through my head then and made myself internally smile was, I would love to be sitting opposite you as the villain stroking my pussy, but
oh God, Drew. Right.
But if you're a Bond fan, you know that. Yeah. I think it's important to have those people in our lives as well, because I know we said we wouldn't mention it, but what we've gone through, people have been able to watch reruns of great shows. They have been watching things that reminded them when times were good. People have been able to go back and watch. I know so many people said, I watch reruns of whatever comedy show on television, Netflix or whatever, and gone, that got me through a dark period. And you think, well, that's a gift, you know, that in times of, you know, like let's say during the war, which I hasten to add, I don't remember, but yeah, during when I was, the people had entertainment then, and they remember, you know, singing the songs that got them through the dark times. And I think, you know, the dark time that we've just gone through, which obviously doesn't compare to any war, but those performers, those memories helped people, and you know. There would have been people watching John Challis and watching reruns of Only Fools and Horses and enjoying his performance. And then to see that person go is, you know, it's very sad. It's, you know. Brona and I have our pumpkin Halloween event in a week's time. So we have been doing the production work and side of that. And it really brings home to me, you know, producers, how many balls they have to juggle and how many things they have to hold in their hands, you know, to bring something together. Because we are, and I'm aware that probably sounded wrong before you even say anything.
No, I let that one go, mate. It's fine.
You did. But I mean, it's just like, you know, you do one thing and you think, well, that can't happen until that happens. And I need to know that, you know, for the event, for the pumpkin carving event, we order in our own pumpkins because, you know, some people have these events on farms and they have their fields of pumpkins, no problem. So we have to sell the tickets and then calculate how many pumpkins we needed. Now, last year we ran around like lunatics gathering them ourselves from various supermarkets, and cannot tell you how A, tiring, and B, stressful that was. So but this year
anyone in your local area last Halloween that had attempted to go to a supermarket and get a pumpkin, you were the reason that their children might have been crying, basically.
Might have been, yeah. But they could have bought a ticket.
Oh, I see. That's the solution. We got
corner the market. Well, interestingly, last year we did the event, and we were working within, you know, the COVID protocols, pounding the swear box for the word, but we were working with certain protocols. This year we don't, but we're still, you know, we're still working within buying the tickets and booking. But we had no competition this year. Now this last year, rather, we had no competition. This year we have competition because, you know, restrictions have loosened. So we need to count. Excuse me. We need to count the pumpkins, order the pumpkins, keep an eye on the ticket sales, prepare. Getting some people in to help us, getting up the decorations, and then getting the pumpkins from the front of the building to where we're holding the event. So it's been, juggling balls.
Juggling pumpkins, which is quite a feat if you can achieve.
It is quite a feat. Yeah. I've had a press launch for the Panto this week, which is great. So got to meet all the lovely actors that I should be working with and directing this year. So that was a little bit of a departure. So there's quite a little bit of pressure on that. It was like, you know, Dame, director, and I hope they're not disappointed. You know, do you know what I mean? So
Dame, director, and disappointment Drew.
Dame, director, and disappointment. All wrapped in one. Yeah. It's a good time of year because people want to be entertained. I mean, the immersive shows, the number of the immersive shows, that increases at this, you know, because people are having parties, they're getting out and about. And I think I've noticed it even more so this year that, you know, now that we are, you know, not altogether back to normal, but people are going, I want my Christmas back. I want, you know, I mean, last year I didn't have a panto for very obvious reasons. But and I think I said I played Santa. I was one of Santa's doubles, as you very tactfully put it. But it was a great, you know, it was, and then even that we were put under lockdown again, so we had to stop that a week earlier than we thought we would have to. But I was very grateful to have, you know, not only to have an income, but also to be able to get out and entertain. And the look of gratitude on people's faces last year was like, yes, my children get to meet Santa. They get to play with his elves. Thank heavens there's, you know, a little bit of normality in the world. Yeah. But and this year I think people are going, I mean, we were certainly found it heartwarming that people coming to the pumpkin carving going, great, there's an event on, we can get the children out, we can celebrate these holidays, these moments. So I think it's not only is it, as you say, commercially advantageous to actors, but also the audiences are there, and this has always been traditionally busy pantomime season, but I think there are other things surrounding it now that has increased the availability of work for people, albeit over a short term.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know that the West End becomes increasingly busy over this period because people have time off and because people want to enjoy the festive season, so they go out and do things more. So there are extra levels of ticket sales, and I suppose you could look at it, although it's not on a performance basis, but sales wise for tickets, I mean, people buying Christmas presents, it's going to go up. There will be lots of theatre tickets bought as gifts, so that's positive as well. And I think you can't sort of blanket it, and you can't go, no, absolutely, it's the season of theatre. But I would say from experience, and feel free to correct me because you have far more experience than I, but I think you'll probably agree that it does feel a very theatrical time of year. But on a filming front, not so much. I think it's very off-season for being on long-term filming projects. Well, that's what I've experienced.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, quite simply because of the time of day. You have less daylight hours, and unless everything is, if you're shooting on locations, you're weather affected, you're daylight affected, and of course that affects how many hours you can shoot and what you can shoot and where. So I think you're right. I mean, a lot of production either goes inside and they do all the studio work, or certainly a lot of outside stuff is not practical.
No.
I mean, if you're supposed to be shooting on a beach, I mean, even in this country, shooting on a beach in this country in June, July, August, you're okay. Anything after September, even then it's a bit dodgy.
Well, exactly. We might find that one day of summer to
that's it.
Fit it all in together.
Get it in. Yeah.
It's an interesting period as well, because from our perspective with the immersive shows, because we do a lot of those in hotels and hired venues, they tend to, I was going to say die a death, it's a horrible way of saying it, but they tend to ease off substantially over summer, because those venues that we would normally perhaps be performing in will be inundated with weddings. And from a business perspective, what is more lucrative for a venue? Well, probably a wedding with 300 odd guests at the bar who want to celebrate an event in quite a liquid form a lot of the time.
Well put, Sam.
Well, I think that's probably, everyone's at weddings getting pissed.
I've done quite a bit of touring, as you know, and I was trying to think of the complete opposite to James Bond and all the beautiful locations that Bond is, Monte Carlo and desert islands and stuff, and I just suddenly thought of Llandudno.
Bless you.
Very good.
That's in Welsh Wales, isn't it?
It's in Welsh Wales. Yes, neither of us can do the accent, so let's step away from that. But I got a couple of tiny little stories about Llandudno because it's the most unlikely place, and I've been there quite a lot of times with different shows and different tours and things. It's ridiculous. It's like, where have you been? Quite a lot. Llandudno. But I went with I did a really weird booking with Ed Wells, who is Edmund Wells, who's a Basil Fawlty lookalike. And he's great, wonderful performer. We've been working together for over 25 years now. And he rang me once and he said, "Oh, what are you doing in a couple of weeks' time?" He said, "I've got a bit of an emergency booking on a caravan site in Llandudno." And I thought, okay. And basically, it was a caravan site with 400 caravans, mobile homes on it, and they had a bit of an open day, and it was a fun day, and they had a fun fair, and we kind of opened the day, and all these people are standing there going, "Who are these guys, and what the hell are they doing here?" So we were sort of like onto a losing streak. And we spent most of the days wandering around, being silly with people. And it was a very pleasant way of spending the day. We had a spot at lunch. And the guy in the restaurant said, we're open this evening if you want to come in for dinner. So we finished the day about 5 or 6 o'clock, got changed and went for dinner. And the building had changed. Suddenly, this caravan site in Llandudno had gone from being this wonderful family affair to actually quite threatening and quite rough. And they had bouncers on the door of a caravan site restaurant.
What?
And they said, you notice I'm not naming the caravan site. There are many in Llandudno. But there was these guys with the old sort of doorman's ID badges, and we went, we haven't booked. Is it okay to come in? And this guy just looked at us and went, don't come in here. Don't come in here, gents. We go, why not? He said, oh, no. No, he said, he looked at his watch. He said, oh, yeah, in about half an hour's time, it'll all kick off. He said, there's fights and bottling. And I said, but it's a caravan site. He went, no, don't come in. No, you don't want to come in. You look like a couple of nice blokes. Don't come in. And so we were ushered away from a restaurant on a caravan site in Llandudno. And sure enough, we drove down into town, went to a little fish and chip shop on the seafront, had a lovely fit and drove back. And we got back about 9:30, and there were about 4 or 5 police cars outside this bar on the caravan site, which next morning when we got up, we went for breakfast. It was like it had never happened. It was just bizarre. But yeah.
I suppose it's one of the most interesting elements of what we do, in that you don't often have friendships like ours where you meet someone doing a job and then you get to see them a lot more, and then something sort of develops. It's sounding very romantic now. It's not how I'm trying to make it.
Yes,
essentially,
I didn't know I meant that much to you.
No, but anyway, essentially what I'm trying to say is that it's quite unusual within our industry to work with someone on a regular basis. You quite often have intensive periods where you might be doing a show with a group of people which runs for a few months, and you literally see them all the time. But then that'll come to the end, and you tend to find it. I mean, feel free to correct me if you've feel differently. But I often find that I will meet people, work with them, strike up a friendship, but then the nature of the business means that as much as you try and keep in contact and want friendships to prolong, it's very, very difficult because you're so often all over the place.
I think you make a good point, mate. I mean, like you say, you're often thrown into a situation where we've touched on this in the past when we've been talking, but you have to get on very quickly, and if it's a tour or you're away from home, you develop that kind of camaraderie and for the sake of the production and the work, but also for the sake of your sanity, that you're away from home, you're missing loved ones or family or whoever, and you need the friendship of people around you to make you feel better. I mean, I've been kicking around this business for a little bit, but I still, when I go away, I still get a little bit homesick. I still sometimes think I'm grateful to be doing the job. I'm loving the job, but it'd be really nice if I was going home tonight. Which I start the panto in a couple of weeks' time, but and this year I'm able to commute, so I'm really looking forward to and meeting some people that I've met before and worked with before, and so it's a double-edged sword. I'm really looking forward to doing the panto, and I actually get to go home but that has not always been the case in the past. I have had, I've met old mates that, I work with, strange enough to call them friends, but I only see them once a year when we're in panto.
Yeah.
But they are good friends, and there's a shorthand between us that helps the work and helps us have those sort of work conversations. But they're also good, mate, and they're also like 200 miles away from home, and they're softening the blow a little bit.
And we are hugely lucky that we are in a vocation that we absolutely adore. And as you say, doing the work, it's like a holiday in itself, because you are being paid to do, I was going to say a hobby. It's not a hobby, it's a job, but to do a passion. That's a better way of looking.
Yeah, that's a good way.
So you can't sort of piss and moan and go, oh, well, I've got to work, so I can't go on holiday, because it's a job that we've chosen, and it's absolutely down to us. And we could have gone the other route and gone 9 to 5 in an office and gone, well, I get 28 days annual leave or whatever it is. I'll take a week here and there. But would you be happy? I know I wouldn't. Those couple of weeks here and there wouldn't make the slightest bit of like difference when I compare it to how much I enjoy my job now.
Yeah, I couldn't say, I couldn't comment on that. I mean, I enjoy. I mean, I enjoy the variety of work that I do. I enjoy I almost enjoy the unpredictability as well. You know,
the one thing we moan about most is what you.
The one thing we moan about most is quite kind of, you know, it's like I don't jump out of aeroplanes and I don't rock climb or anything like that. But sometimes not knowing where the next job is coming from is equally as shall we say, yeah, that gets the adrenaline flowing as well.
Yeah.
But when it comes, it's great, as we know.
Now, as you well know, I was in a production of The Full Monty, something that I'm hugely proud of and really, really enjoyed. And you're making faces already.
Well, it's only because, I mean, how embarrassed can you be in a production of The Full Monty?
So, and ironically, this embarrassing moment happened after the show. So the finale of the show, not to spoil it for anyone, but is 6 gentlemen who remove all pieces of clothing, bar boots and socks, and our end up stood totally stark bollock naked in front of a bright Full Monty sign which lights up, which turns them into silhouette, so you can't see anything, but you know, blah blah blah. And just before that moment happens, you take your hat off, you place it across your private area, and you remove your rip-off G-string, and you take that off, and sort of then you wave it around your head, and then the final moment is where the light come on, and you fling your hat and your G-string up in the air, throw them, and you are stood spread, but obviously the lights come on so no one can see anything. At that point, lights all go down. Some very generous stagehands run on and throw dressing gowns at you so you can sort of cover up and blah blah blah. Curtain call happens, etc., etc. Show ends. We're all then back in the dressing room. We wait for the all clear to go back on the stage to then collect your costume that you have removed as part of said show, part of the finale dance number. And we're all picking things up, and they're sort of labelled so we know whose is whose.
Yeah,
there's all sorts of things that could go wrong there, wrong sizes, and God knows what else. And you put stuff back together, and I go, right, got my trousers, belt, hat, shirt, jacket, blah 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 blah. Where's my G-string? Boys, has anyone picked up a spare G-string? No, I've just got mine, Sam. No, but look, it's very funny, lads. Where's my G-string? No, honestly, Sam, we haven't got it. So a frantic 15 minutes, including which part of embarrassment number one, stagehands, like props managers and everyone on, where's this bloody G-string? Until one lovely young lady looked up and went, oh. And on top of said, it's got to be 10-foot high, Full Monty, bright light sign, is this solo little red shiny G-string floating up there. So yes, one of my biggest memories from that incredible show is having to stand sheepishly at the bottom while one of the techies climbed a ladder to retrieve my G-string from the top of the Full Monty sign. So there you go. Embarrassing, yes. Fun, silly, brilliant, without a doubt. So there we go, mate.
You know, I have to say, what a revealing moment and revealing story that was.
Thank you, Drew. Very good. See what you did there. Clever, very funny. But it seriously is a memory that it'll stay with me forever. And I think looking back over season 3, we have definitely discussed many memories and stories that have been interesting, meaningful, embarrassing, but mostly just like heartfelt experiences and highlights from our careers. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more, mate. I could not agree more. I mean, it's just been so much fun just watching and listening to all those little bits and those little clips from what I think I'm safe in saying could possibly be our best season yet.
Well, now, do you know, I don't think I disagree with you, but what I will say is knowing what's to come, I think come the end of season 4, we might be feeling a little bit differently.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, listeners, subscribers, good friends, Drewling Samantics fans, whether you're a Drewling Samantics OG or joining us for the first time, please make sure you come back next week, because we have the first episode of season 4. What are you smiling? What are you laughing at? You got a great big grin on your face, Sam Dunning.
I'm aware I've had a beer or two, but did I just hear from your lips the phrase or the acronym OG used? I mean, what's that? You've been on the internet again, haven't you? Drew is down with the kids using OG. What is going on there, mate?
Well, to be honest, I thought it meant old guard.
But no, go on, no. No, you're on your own. What? Old guard?
Yeah,
you are literally the most ancient man in the history of life. So basically, for anyone not familiar with the phrase OG or the acronym OG, it stands for Original Gangster. Basically, someone that's been there from the start or been invested since day dot. But no, if you're Mr. Fettis, then you believe that it means old guard. I'll tell you what, that is a perfect example to show that you never ever fail to make me laugh, and it is the perfect reason to say to everyone, you've got to keep tuning in. And on that note, a huge thank you to everyone for continually joining us and listening and watching. We genuinely love having a chat and a giggle and catching up. And most importantly, talking about the industry we're in, which is something that we adore more than anything else. But knowing that there are other people out there listening and watching and who want to hear what we've got to say and enjoy the content we create. And they're spread like all corners of the globe and just all kind of backgrounds and stuff. It's just the most phenomenally amazing feeling. It just properly heartwarming to know that people love what we do in that respect. And just thank you everyone for being there, basically.
I echo what you say, Sam. I mean, it's amazing to watch our audiences grow. I mean, we said a little while back we're on all the continents now. We're countrywide, worldwide, and it's such an amazing and gratifying feeling. And so, seriously, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank each and every one of you. And please coming back. Please stay with us. And you keep coming back. We promise that we'll come back and we'll get even better. We'll keep up the good work, and let's make season 4, as you say, Sam, the best one yet.
Well, and that is the perfect summary, mate. I think that is us saying our final farewell to season 3. That's it. Yeah. It's done. Drew, mate, thank you for joining me each week and for being here so we can create this just ridiculously fun thing that we have. Basically, let's finish how we always start. I shall raise a toast to season 4.
Season 4. Cheers, mate.
All. We'll see you next time. Cannot wait.
See you soon, everyone.
Take it easy. Ta-da.
Cheers, Sam.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed this special highlights episode of Drewling Samantics.
If you have, then make sure you go and watch all our previous episodes in full for even more fun and interesting content. Please consider subscribing to our channel too, and you'll get notified every time a new video is released.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And we'd love your support on social media as well. We're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and all our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so please share with your family and friends, and we'll be eternally grateful. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.